Have you ever felt pulled in two different directions at once? Like there's this constant debate happening right inside your own head. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today, breaking down the core ideas from the book, The Two Within. It's all about getting to know those two inner voices and maybe, just maybe, figuring out who you really are when all that noise finally fades away. This whole idea is captured so perfectly in that old, powerful story about the two wolves. It's such a great metaphor for that inner battle we all feel, right? That constant tug of war between our fears and our hopes, our ego and our true spirit. Honestly, this one story is the key to everything we're about to unpack. So, if this battle is raging inside every single one of us, the million-dollar question is, which wolf actually wins? Well, the book's answer is incredibly simple, but it is so profound. The one you feed. See, it's not about some grand pre-written destiny. It's about our small, daily choices, what we decide to focus on, what we give our precious energy to. Right, so that idea of feeding one wolf over the other, that's exactly what we're going to get into. In this first part, we'll unpack that inner battle and really set the stage for how the book says we can resolve it, not with more fighting, but with a much deeper understanding. I mean, think about it. The classic angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. We've all seen that cartoon, right? It's a classic for a reason. That feeling of being torn between what you think you should do and what your heart is quietly telling you it wants to do, well, that's the battleground. The book argues this isn't just some funny trope. It's pretty much the central conflict of being human. Okay, so to really get a handle on this inner conflict, we need to properly introduce the two main players. The book is really clear that it's not about labeling them good and evil. Instead, it presents them as two fundamental parts of our consciousness, the ego and the spirit. First up, we've got the ego. The book just calls it the I. This is the voice of your day-to-day experience. It's the part of you that builds up an identity from your job, your relationships, your achievements. It's always seeking something, always hungry for approval, and it's absolutely terrified of ceasing to exist. It builds up all these walls to feel safe because it operates on belief. But here's the thing, it never truly knows. And then, on the complete other side, you have the spirit, or the higher self. Now this part isn't a seeker, it's the watcher. It's that calm, silent witness inside of you. It's totally still, completely whole. It doesn't need to go out and find a purpose, because it already is purpose. It just rests in this state of pure knowing. It doesn't build walls, it opens windows and sees connection everywhere. This table really just lays out the difference so clearly. You see the ego, always moving, seeking, wandering, desperate for safety. But the spirit? It's still. It's the witness. And this right here gets to the absolute core of it. The ego is built on a foundation of belief, on things it's been told by the outside world. The spirit, on the other hand, it just is. It knows. So this huge distinction leads us right into the book's most central, and maybe its most radical idea. It's a complete 180 on how we might think about our connection to the divine. The book takes us to this super pivotal moment. You know the story. Moses at the burning bush. And Moses asks a very simple, very direct question. When people ask me who sent me, what name should I give them? He's basically asking, who are you? And the response, well, it's the entire key. God doesn't give a name like Yahweh or something. The answer is a statement of pure existence. I am. The book's big insight here is that this wasn't a name for some external God. It was a pointer, directing us inward to the very source of our own being. I mean, this just changes everything. The divine isn't some separate being out there somewhere, it's an inner presence. According to the book, every single time you say the words, I am, like I am tired or I am happy, you are, without even realizing it, tapping into that exact same divine declaration. That I am is your true self. It's the spirit. Okay, so that's a huge idea. If this divine presence is right here inside of us, how do we actually connect with it? How in the world do we hear its voice over the constant chatter of the ego? This next part is all about the book's practical path for doing just that. So the book describes our minds as being just full of noise. It's the endless distractions, the knee-jerk reactions, all the voices we've inherited from our families and our culture telling us who we're supposed to be. All of that noise, the book says, is fueled by fear, and it's just so loud that it drowns out the quiet whisper of the spirit. But we have a choice. We can actually learn to tune out the noise by choosing silence over distraction and presence over fear to finally hear our own original voice. So how do we actually do it? The book lays out a really clear path. First, you just have to acknowledge the noise. Just become aware of all the beliefs and fears you've picked up along the way. Second, you have to actively excavate silence. I love that word. It doesn't just show up, you have to carve it out. Third, you ask that enormous question, who am I? Not as a puzzle for your brain to solve, but as a deep inquiry pointed inward. And then finally, you just listen. You learn to listen for the answer that rises up from that quiet place. This quote just nails the whole concept. Belief is borrowed, knowing is born. Belief is everything we get from the outside, from books, from teachers, from society. It's secondhand information, right? But knowing, that's different. That comes from a direct personal experience. It's born from that moment of connection with your own inner voice. So we've met the two voices, and we found a way to start listening to the spirit. The final step is all about bringing them together. See, the book's goal isn't for the good wolf to destroy the bad wolf. It's about realizing the battle itself was just a big misunderstanding. And this isn't some brand new idea. This concept of an inner, divine energy is a universal truth. Cultures all over the world have found their own names for it. Yoga in India, Qi in China, Qi in Japan, even Christ consciousness in Christianity. They're all just different words pointing to the exact same fundamental reality, a unifying presence that runs through absolutely everything, including us. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. Peace isn't about the ego losing some big fight. It's about realizing there was never really a fight to begin with. That feeling of separation was just an illusion. The ego isn't an enemy that we need to destroy. It's just a part of our human journey that needs to be understood. The goal is simply to let our true self, the spirit, take the lead. And so we end with the one question the book leaves us all to answer for ourselves. You're not your job, you're not your relationships, you're not your fears or even your beliefs. Those are all just the stories the ego loves to tell. So, if you strip all of that away, who is left? That's the question the two within invites you to carry into your own silence, and to answer not with a belief, but with your own direct experience.